1. I'm currently working as an assistant park manager for a small business for $18 an hour. My boss shared that the business has just got accepted to give pension plans to their employees. This is where I got confused with the way they introduced the two options I could do for my job. A. I can be paid the same without pension, and I will need to discuss more on it. B. If I want the pension being in W-2 payroll, I have to start at $16 an hour in order to get pension through the business. The boss hasn't given me the full details of the pension, or at least a document of what the plan is if I went with this option. Later on that day, I asked for more clarification, and the majority of their response is really beating around the bush and not actually answering my question. Really need help with this. Not sure if it's my misunderstanding or the fact that they didn't relay that information well. This was our conversation after my work by text. For this pension plan that would be available, is there a document that I can review so I can formulate questions I may have about it to make an informed decision?
What decision? Is free money to you. You are not required to contribute.
My understanding is if I accept the pension, then I would be paid a rate of $16 an hour. If I decline the pension, my pay would be $18 an hour. This suggests the pension would cost me $2 an hour. Is this correct, or am I misunderstanding what you are offering me?
Where did you get that idea? The pension does not affect your pay.
Can you please explain what you were telling me this morning?
It is a pension. We put money in it for your retirement. That's all.
So if I get this pension, am I still getting paid $18 an hour? He then tried to call. I'm currently busy and can't talk on the phone.
The pension and your rate of pay are two different subjects. We've created a pension. All employees who work more than 1,000 hours per year on a W-2 are automatically part of the pension. We can talk more another day. Tomorrow is not good for me.
Update, 14th of March. I have asked my manager about what our boss was trying to propose to me. With their understanding, the pension, adding to payroll, adding to W-2 are all separate discussions. Pension is optional and can work either $16 an hour or my current $18 an hour. However, boss wants more discussion if I want to stick with my current pay, $18 an hour. Payroll. Boss wants to have me in payroll so that they can do taxes for their business. However, they want me to start at $16 an hour because they thought I would get a lot of things managed within 4 months, barely 5 coming this month. W-2 is so that I can be under company's health benefits, if I care to have it. Not sure if boss would like to give me health care, but still have part of my pay to health benefits to be covered for the extra $2 if I start $16 an hour instead. So far, I understand that I would prefer to stay at $18 an hour, because that is what they hired me for. I have done a lot at $16, and for the amount of things I'm doing here is better to be paid higher than less. In addition, it's unprofessional to ask me to get less for what was already agreed beforehand, and it's in file. I have access to all company signatures and have copies of them too. Update, 15th of March. I shared my boss on the last day this week that I would prefer to keep my pay on payroll. His response? I will be back in 2 weeks. For now, I will continue to pay you as a subcontractor. At this point, I'm glad to have applied to other jobs, the moment my boss couldn't even answer any of the questions I gave. No matter how much I clarified my questions, my boss just keeps beating around the bush. In addition, it's not a great business practice to expect to have someone you hired for a pay they preferred and then propose to be paid less. I plan to check with the places I have applied for and see if I can match my pay or better. I'm not worried about healthcare because that's taken care of my spouse's work. And pension would be great to see details, more than how my boss didn't give me much. Update, 19th of March. I'm really hoping this is the last update of this ridiculous business. The boss asked to have a call on my off day. I asked if this is about the work, and if it is, we can talk the next day. I do work on a scheduled time. They vaguely ended with, we will talk at 1 p.m. on my off day. Therefore I replied, all right, I will talk to you on my workday as scheduled. I did ask my manager, who's salaried, about it. They shared that I should keep track of the time of the call and how both them and the boss are feeling overwhelmed about future plans which are upcoming soon. However, I'm paid hourly, and I don't want to think about work on my off days. Overall, my boss hasn't even mentioned about having more discussion on pay, and even if this was the case, I don't want to talk on my day off, nor do I want to calculate my hours to put in my timesheet. Therefore, I don't think it's fair to propose one thing and not finalize that and then bring something up that isn't related to it on my off day. Update, 21st of March. My boss called on the day I work about wanting to have me do more in terms of organization tasks, like I haven't already been doing it. They want to have me be the overseer of my manager's tasks being completed under our general checklist that gets distributed overall to other employees, subcontractors, and contractors. When the boss asked if I had any questions, I did mention to him as someone who organizes both physical, digital materials, and discussions. I want to know what is happening with payroll. They shared that they are keeping me the same as I am, $18 an hour in checks, not subcontractor or contractor. In addition, boss wants to discuss more on the topic when they come back. But I'm already ready to be out the door once I get accepted to a different job. Hellfreezer's note. It's a little confusing what the boss is up to here. I think really what needs to be asked, if it hasn't been asked already, and it may have been, is, okay, you want to pay me less, what benefits do I get by accepting a lower wage? Where does that missing $2 go? How does it benefit me to do that? There has to be an advantage somewhere if it's simply a choice between two. And the other thing that I personally find a bit confusing, those of you who are more knowledgeable about this sort of thing might be able to chime in the comments, please. I thought if it was a pension with your place of work, you had to contribute to it. I always thought an employee had to contribute part of their paycheck toward it, and then the employer would match that, or some such. As I say, I'm not fully knowledgeable on the subject, and I'm suddenly thinking about pensions. Even though they're raising the retirement age in the UK. I mean, lower the retirement age, that'd be much better. 2. So I moved to a small town from Miami at the end of COVID. Was trying to disappear into the woods and stop grinding every day. Before that could happen, I fell into a job that sounded too good to be true. Found it on Craigslist. Should have been a sign. The owner asks me to meet him at a bar in town for the interview. Another bad sign. He goes on to tell me that the current op manager is dating one of the store managers and refuses to fire her. Did not want to explain why she needed to be fired. Turns out she was just too much of a lib for my boss, and the ops manager wouldn't fire her for that. Also, just for context, they are engaged to be married at this time. Ops manager refuses and gives his 2 weeks' notice. The owner begs him for a 2-month notice so he has time to find someone to replace him. So the Craigslist post leads to me. Now I'm hired. Within 2 weeks, he had fired the girlfriend manager for insubordination, and had me fire the ops manager for inventory errors. He also fired the assistant manager of one of the shops because he was just friends with the ops manager, and he had to go, apparently. So now I am the sole person in charge of running this company, 3 stores, and a distro. The owner doesn't have any idea of what's actually happening in the stores, so the rest of my training is taking technical, with the 65-plus boomer who has the attitude of the expert, but none of the expertise. The first year was rough. I spent most of it doing 60-plus hours a week, hiring new staff and changing everything about this guy's failing company. Doubled sales over the first year. That was the turning point. Once he was in the black and things are financially working well for him, he stops pretending. He starts holding all company meetings where he makes me print out giant charts he doesn't reference, asks for company input just to turn it down, schedules this particular meeting at the small Mexican restaurant just to give a loud, boisterous speech about how our stores are better than other stores because we're Americans and they're all foreign Arabs opening business just to fast-track a green card. Everyone at the company had opinions about this. I fielded all of them and kicked them up the ladder just to have all employees retaliated against. Rules became more offensive and pointed. Uniforms were instituted. He started making up stories about employees. He claimed one of our managers went on a Trump-hating rant based on a story from our handyman. He wanted that employee fired, and when I asked for a timestamp, because we have cameras and I'm not just a following order guy, so I can do my due diligence, he accuses her of denying it and lying. I checked the camera and it never happened. That's when he started targeting me, sending emails berating me for not being on the company's side, and calling me a socialist for defending innocent people and their livelihoods. I point out he was paying to keep this company open before I got here. He says I had nothing to do with the success of the stores. He starts to imply that everything I report to him is now a lie. He creates problems just to throw me at the problem. I later find he is doing this to distract from my normal everyday duties, so he can say I'm not performing to his standard. He continuously spreads his political beliefs around the stores in the form of degrading stories about a trans person he saw, or a Fox News story about the border. Ugh. Meanwhile, any employees who have an opinion are being threatened to keep it to themselves or be terminated. I love the job and the team I built. After the second year, the team I built was having trouble finding the will to keep doing this for this awful man. I got them to stay, at least for us. It was us against him. I regret that very much. None of these people deserve to be put through that. Towards the end, I was promised raises in December for me and my salaried staff. December comes, and every time I try to talk to the owner, I'm attacked for something to distract from the raises. This goes on into February. He goes as far as to blame the high heating bill during winter on the staff, and claims they must be running the air all night so they won't be cold in the morning. I turn around and investigate the problem, and what do you know, the energy company raised prices 15% from the previous year on January 1st. So that complaint is shown in the light of day for what it is. Another nonsense excuse that proves how uninvolved you are. At this point, I'm burnt out. I've been working 60 hours a week for 3 years. I start seeing ads for a new job at the company. It's suspiciously close to my job, however, we live in the middle of nowhere. There are no professionals to fill this position. Everyone underneath me understands who you are and doesn't want the position. So he gets no bites for the 4 months he posts it. He starts branching out to other platforms. Maybe Craigslist just isn't the spice. I find the same ads on Facebook and a locals-only Facebook group. He's posting these job postings from his burner account. The profile picture is just body bags with the caption of safe zones in Gaza. That was the last straw. I couldn't be tied to this anymore, and I couldn't find the words to defend anything this guy has ever done. I quit, no notice, at the end of that week. I sent him an email saying I was offered a better job and took it. Treat people better. Best of luck. The staff got a long, nice letter explaining what happened and the circumstances. He tries to save face by telling everyone he was going to fire me that day, with 6 weeks severance. They all saw through that when he had no plan to replace me. He scrambled and moved people up and all over the company. Needless to say, when payday rolls around, he has withheld that check. The next Friday, I call the new person doing my job. I'm told it's already in the mail, and to just wait, but when I ask for tracking, they refuse. The following Monday, I get a notice from QuickBooks saying your direct deposit is coming next Friday. Here we are on payday again, and my direct deposit didn't show up. Turns out he scheduled a direct deposit, then cancelled it the same day and mailed a paper check. He also, just to be a dick, asked for a signature on a piece of paper mail since he knows I have a new job. He knows I won't get it till I go out of my way to the post office on the weekend. I finally get the check, and written in the memo is, "Tell the truth more often." This guy is truly a menace. 3. First, let me start off by saying that I am a sensitive person and diagnosed with generalized anxiety and social anxiety. I've had many people tell me that I can't take things personally, but that's just how I am, and it sucks, but when someone is being mean or rude to me, I get very upset and can't hold it in. I know it's something I need to work on, and I need to learn how to defend myself. So, lady comes up to my register with a million things. I start ringing her up. She's buying a set, so it's a top and pants together. Usually customers keep them together on the hangers, so we know that it's a set and goes together. But she separated them, and I rung up the shirt first, so when I got to the pants and noticed it was a set, because it has a little ticket on it that tells us, I told her I'm going to call someone to do a price check and or find the matching shirt. She ended up giving me an attitude and telling me that I already rung up the shirt, and I asked her if I could see it, because I need to confirm that I already scanned it, because I'm not able to just take her word for it and give her the pants for free. She starts complaining and saying that she's not going to take the top out to show me when there's a ton of stuff in the bag, so I told her, okay, I'm going to get the coordinator, I'll be right back. She continues to give me an attitude and decides to take out the top to show me, and it did match, so I apologized and thanked her for showing me. But you can tell that she was very, very annoyed at this. So now it's time for her to pay. Her total is $430-something, and she wants to pay cash and card. So she gives me $340, 6 $50 bills, and 2 $20 bills. So then she owes about $98-something and inserts her card to pay. Her card declines, and she doesn't have enough money to pay the rest. She starts saying that she wants to take this out and that out, and I said, okay, please hold on and let me get a coordinator to help out, because at my store there needs to be a return and purchase if something like this happens. There's no way to just take a few things back, especially since the system already registered the $340 she gave me. So, my coordinator comes up and tries explaining things to her and how it's going to work with the return and repurchase, and she starts getting angry and tells us to forget it and just refund everything because she doesn't want to buy anything anymore. We say okay, that's fine, and I give her back the $340 she gave me, and she has the nerve to say that I gave her back less than what she gave me, which is not possible because I was holding the exact amount of money she gave me in my hand. The register wasn't even opened up for me to put her money inside because there was still $98 to be paid, and the register doesn't open until everything is paid off. So I tried to explain to her that she gave me 6 $50 bills and 2 $20 bills. And she cuts me off and rudely says, "You need to stop talking to me because you talk way too fast and I don't understand what you're saying." And she then says to my coordinator about me, "How long has she been working here? Because she doesn't know how to do anything and she's very incapable at this job." I felt the tears starting to form and excused myself and let my coordinator handle it. I was so kind to this lady. I tried to explain things to her nicely, never gave her an attitude, and she decides to just be extremely rude to me for no reason. Health Freezer's note, there was actually a reason she was rude to you. It wasn't a good one, however. Her reasoning is, "Oh crap, I messed up here. I can't admit that I made a mistake, so I'm gonna make it your fault." And sadly, there's a lot of people like that in retail. You don't need to apologize for getting upset, it's just how you are and that's okay. I don't think a good, decent person would give you crap for reacting that way. We all have our moments, and there's only so much it can take sometimes before breaking. But that was a very nasty lady, and you did nothing wrong in that interaction. If anything, it sounded like in the end she was trying to con you out of more money. 4. This happened a little while ago, but it still makes me laugh a little. I was on the till for one of my shifts, the end till closest to the exit. Just before the exit was one of those toy dispensers, the sort where you put a coin in, turn it, and you get a cheap piece of poorly colored plastic that half resembles a character from some kid show. I've seen a lot of kids pester their parents or guardians for a £1 coin for the thing. Some give in, others don't. This story is about one who didn't. I was serving an older guy, perhaps late 50s, early 60s, who was out shopping with his young grandson around 4. He was nice enough, polite and friendly. As too was the grandson when asking for a £1 coin for the toy machine. To the kid's credit, he at first started asking very nicely,
"Granddad, could I please have a pound for a toy?"
The way the kid said it showed good manners. The granddad then told him no in an equally well-mannered and nice tone. It was kind of refreshing to see all round, to be honest. Unfortunately, though, that's not where it ended. The child kept asking for a £1 coin from his granddad, the requesting getting less mannered each time, but not quite reaching the tantrum zone yet. Granddad stuck firm on his response. He didn't lose his cool or his manners, merely got slightly more firm in his response. The kid didn't like this and did something neither of us were expecting. He gave his granddad a death stare while his back was turned, and then ran straight out the store, full speed. It would be bad enough for the kid to run away, but the fact that the store I worked at the time was on a very busy road, the kid could be out the door and into traffic in a matter of seconds. The granddad didn't notice as he had his back turned to the kid at this point, but I quickly pointed out the fleeing child to him as he left the building. Panicked, the granddad tried to hand me his wallet, saying, "Right, I'll be right back. I'll pay for the shopping. Take this and..." I tell him to just go get the child. I honestly don't care about the shopping. Quick as he can manage, he runs out the building. I'm standing at the side of my till at this point, so I can see out the exit. I can see the granddad looking around the busy car park, but I can't see the kid, and it's clear he can't either. It was at this point I was seriously expecting someone in the queue to start whining about having to wait and demanding to be served. But unbelievably, no one did. Everyone just seemed to be focused on what was happening. After a tense 20 seconds or so, I heard a little voice beside me.
"Where's Granddad?"
I looked down to see the kid had somehow made his way back into the store. I quickly grab the hood on the child's coat and tell him, "Don't move." With one hand holding the kid's hood, I start waving in large gestures to the granddad outside. He quickly notices me and re-enters the store, red in the face and almost breathless. He sees his grandson, who I still haven't let go of at this point. The granddad walks up to the kid, a mixture of exhaustion, anger, and relief all playing across his face at once. He stands there, catching his breath, as he stares his grandson dead in the eyes. I let go of the hood at this point, as the kid stares back at his granddad. Neither speak for a full 10 seconds. The kid is the first to break the silence.
"Can I have £1, Granddad?"
The level of restraint that man showed in that moment was godly. He just paid for his shopping, got his grandson by the arm, and took him out of the store. As they passed the toy machine, the child quickly realized he wasn't getting a toy, and went full tantrum. I didn't hear his crying long, as the granddad didn't even slow his pace one bit as he dragged that kid out of the store. Hellfreezer's no, can I just say, oh, that's satisfying. I used to work in retail, as you guys know, and so many times that nonsense would happen. Parent or whoever else was in the store with the kid. Can I get? No, 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 no. Then they'd leave the store, or the parent would come right back in and buy the thing they were whining for, thereby teaching them a very bad lesson. And I get it, you want a peaceful life, you want to stop the whining. But it doesn't really stop the whining, does it? It just delays it. 5. I work for my grocery store's curbside pickup. We accept food stamps orders and have nifty little tablets we can take out to the car to take payment. However, sometimes there's an issue with the tablet, so we also have a register inside our department. Everything we do is electronic, so we don't hold cash in our department. Today I had a food stamps order show up around 8 p.m. I gather her groceries and take them with the tablet to her car. "Good evening, order for you?" "Yes, there's an issue with my EBT card. Is there a way for you to type it into the tablet?" "No, we can only swipe cards on the tablet. However, I have a register inside that I can input it." "Well, can you just take the card and do it for me?" Red flag. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't feel comfortable taking your cards into the store." "Okay, fine." I leave her food on the trolley while I take her inside the store. I pull up her order onto the register and try typing her food stamps card 3 times with no success. So I ask if she had another form of payment. She holds up her debit. I motioned for her to slide it in the reader. She then asked, "Can I get cash back?" "Ma'am, I don't carry cash back here, so I can't give you cash back." "Oh, okay." I see the charge for cash back pop up on the order. "Ma'am, I cannot give you cash back. Please cancel the payment." Okay. Then she starts her PIN. "Ma'am, I literally have no money for cash back. Please press..." The transaction went through. She had selected $20 cashback. My till, that I didn't even know I had, popped open and was empty. I look at her and pointed at the till. I have no money for cashback.
Well, it gave me the option. Why would it give me the option if you can't do it?
I sigh and radio my front-end manager. She comes back. What's going on? She got $20 cashback, so give it to her. I pointed at my empty till. Why don't you have cashback here? Because literally everything is done electronically. We aren't supposed to be able to give cashback.
Well, it gave me the option.
Okay, well, wait here. I'll get $20 from the safe. We waited for about 15 minutes. Several times she tried to convince me to let her go outside and I'll just bring it to her when my manager gets back. I said no. I don't feel comfortable transporting your cashback. What I didn't say is there's no cameras in my parking area, so if she decided to call and accuse me of not giving her cashback, there was no way to prove otherwise. So we waited. My manager comes back, hands the cash to the customer, and asks me to reprint the receipt for the safe. I did so, went outside and loaded her food into the car. Then came inside and typed this up. Moral of the story, if someone says they can't do something, maybe you should listen to them. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, episode 201. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please do hit the like button, and share the video with friends and family. If you'd like to get early access to these videos, then you can support me on my Patreon page, which is linked in the description. You'll also find links to the Hellfreezer Discord and the Hellfreezer merchandise store on Teespring. And if you really like today's video, you can leave a tip by clicking on the heart with the $sign underneath the video. You don't have to do that, but I do appreciate it and thank you kindly. Okay, no other business today, so let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, as we're either in or just coming out of the Easter period, what is your favorite Easter-related food that you have every Easter? Can't really answer that because my family didn't really do Easter big time. It didn't do any special dishes. We might have had like a nice dinner or something, but honestly, it's been so long since I celebrated Easter as a specific holiday. I really can't recall that clearly. But why don't you share some of yours with me? I look forward to reading your answers in a comment below. And before we go, let's have the answer of the day from a previous video. And this was in relation to skills that you gave up on but you'd always like to go back to someday. And this answer comes from whatever name. As a kid, I really enjoyed stickman fighting animations and I made a few myself. I'd love to go back and learn it now, since I actually have a laptop and can afford the software to use a real program, instead of a free iPad app. Thank you very much for your answer, whatever name. That sounds like a lot of fun. And with that, I'm going to head off from now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.